Space Ghost, how we doing? Ohio Mom, how we doing? Hey Tracy. Kristen, Diane, Jennifer, Derek. Awesome Space Ghost. Thank you for watching them. Hello Pammy from North Carolina. That's where I'm at as well. Miss K, how we doing? Wild Moon, how you doing? Hello Mom. Just figured I'm gonna come on after high demand. Someone wanted me to do another Q&A. Thank you, Tracy. Glad you like it. Adrian, hello. XTWCR, what up? Amber. Becky. When, Diane? Oh wow, how was that? Pittsburgh, no plans to write this at this moment, but I have gone through there. I don't know if I've ever investigated in Pittsburgh, but definitely driven through it. Oh, nice, Ohio Mom. Definitely some wild cases. Mr. Coffee Break, how we doing? Hello, Christina. How we doing? Sadie, how are you? Have I been to Oregon? Uh, I don't think I have, actually. No, I've never been to Oregon. Nice, Diane. Hello, Christy. Spencer, hello. Cherry, thank you. How's everybody doing tonight? Good. Glad to hear that, XTW. Good stuff. Nice, Christina. Oh, geez. Oh, Emma. That would be cool, Sadie. Sherry, Mommy Sherry, thank you so much. Again, guys, I'm doing another Q&A here, so whatever you guys want to ask me about the paranormal, you want to share an experience you had, get my opinion, or just ask me a question, anything about the paranormal, that's what I'm doing tonight for a little bit, and then I will be leaving an overnight stream on in the Weird Haunted Room a little bit after this stream, a little later. So go right ahead, ask me anything, whatever you got. Pump shoe, thank you. Did they make their own spirit box? I didn't even know that. But I hear you. Hello, Roger. Nice, Pammy. Probably would be, Michelle. Are there any attachments for the SB7? Well, any level of investigating the paranormal, engaging the spirits at any level is a risk we're all taking. So whatever that may or may not come with, that's up to the individual experience and what happened and where they are and what they're doing. So, spirit boxes, you're communicating with spirits, you're engaging them, you're acknowledging them, you're trying to get information from them, and you're opening up that doorway of communication. So I wouldn't say they come with attachments per se. I mean, but if you're talking about like a used spirit box that's been used and a lot of spirits have communicated through it, that could be a different ball game. Oh, thank you, Tracy. Definitely. I almost got a chance to go to Myrtle's. I think 2 times. I almost got to go, but didn't get to go see it. But I definitely hope to. Leanne, thank you. Same to you, Miss Smitty. Marissa, how you doing tonight? Do you think trees have any correlation to energy? Well, everything retains energy. Every single object on the planet has some sort of energy around it. So it wouldn't be just trees. Can you tell us about people reporting things coming to their screen as I watching some content? What do you mean by that? You have experiences, Roger? You went to the 9/11 museum. I bet. I bet I would feel. I have the SPI on right now with the SAM on. It just said, "Is it gone?" I bet there's a lot of energy in that the 9/11 museum. 100%. Do you think you're able to see energy of certain trees and plants? I mean, is it possible to see aura around things? Yes, I've seen aura around people like sporadically, but it's not like a consistent thing. Hello, Lori. Okay, well, if you're worried about things coming through the screen, I think you'll be okay. Heckbiz, what up, buddy? Eric, hello. When you see people's aura, does that give you a general idea of? Yes, if I see a certain colorization of an aura, even when it comes to a spirit, if I see a ball of energy of spirit, hey Tracy, um, Valentine, um, if I see like a colorization of like a ball of energy, I would associate that color to be some sort of characteristic to the type of spirit they are in their intention or their emotional state, so to speak. Can you give some examples of colors? If I see like a blue color, a spirit of energy, I would consider that potentially could be protective or angelic in nature. If it's a dark color or red color, it could be evil or like an angry spirit. So those are just like some examples. Going a little deeper into some of those other colors, I'm not really sure, what they could be, but it seems like the red and the dark colors associate with negative energy, lower vibrational type of entities, and evil and angry and malicious and malevolent ones, like the colors of shadows and stuff. Again, guys, thank you so much. If for any reason that you're new, make sure to give me a sub or a follow. I'm live every week, posting paranormal content every week, full episodes. Um, just posted the 4th episode of Up Against Evil on my YouTube channel. Make sure to go check it out. Some people do believe purple is like an intuitive, spiritual. There's a lot of interpretations of what colors may be. Kind of like the two anomalies that came out of the floor from the episode 3 of Up Against Evil. One was like pink color and one was like a purplish color. And I do believe it was the mother and the son spirit that were trapped in that house, that I do believe from the prayer they were able to find peace and light. If you haven't watched that episode, you really should watch it too, because it's really wild. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Can evil cause very vivid dreams and take place you have ever never been? Yes, Eric. When you're sleeping, your meditative state, your subconscious is awake, your rational mind's asleep. This is when you're most susceptible to being connected to the spirit world. And these spirits will come to you during this bracket of time because they know this. So they will actually take advantage of that and project images and influence your dreams to get messages across to you, whether it's, desperation. It could be a loved one trying to give you a dream or a message, or it could be something creepy and malevolent that's trying to frighten you and get fear from you, because those energies want to get negative energy. So that's why they feed off fear. So what's the easiest time to try to frighten us is while we're sleeping, when we're most vulnerable. At Myrtle's. Whiters, how we doing? There's Valentine, thank you. That's creepy, Christy. Usually shadow figures are some sort of negative spirit. It could be a human spirit or something worse, but they're usually an association with something that's not good in some way. Oh, gosh, tired today. Again, guys, if you're just coming in, any question you want to ask me about the paranormal, or share a story, or ask my opinion about an experience you had, this is what I'm using this tonight as for the stream. Hey, Sky, likewise. Okay, I'll check it out. Well, there's no limitations to what some of these spirits can actually do when they actually move around. And it's very quick and abrupt, and they can just be gone with a blink of an eye. Brent, how we doing, buddy? Thank you. Is there anything going on? Well, luckily I didn't have anything weird happen while I was sleeping last night. Mines, thank you. Thank you for that, for the DJ glasses. Welcome, guys. If you're just coming in, if you're into the paranormal, make sure you give me a sub or a follow. Live every week, paranormal content every week. My thoughts on Bigfoot. I did talk about this in the last Q&A, but my theory on Bigfoot is that was some sort of prehistoric man-like creature that once lived. All of the characteristics of the manifestations and experiences of individuals that people have claimed to have. Said bloody hell on SBI. Are all things that ghosts can do: rock throwing, wood knocking, growling, footsteps. I mean, these are all things that spirits can do too, and would also explain why this creature would be so elusive, in my opinion, not being a physical creature. It's actually a spiritual entity that once lived, but somehow it can do things that not all ghosts can do, but some ghosts definitely can do. That would be my interpretation. I've never searched for Bigfoot, but that would be my theory behind it. Laura, thank you for the gift. Hello, Lavina. Have you experienced floating at your body while sleeping, watching yourself get up? Yes, astral projection. I've experienced this many times. I wrote about this in my first chapter. my first book, I wrote a chapter about astral projection in my first book, Shadow Chaser, um, which is on SeanDAustin.com. If you want signed physical copies in the US, otherwise it's on Amazon. I published 2 books on my paranormal experiences, Shadow Chaser and Shadow Chaser the In-Between. Links are on my YouTube. If not, you guys can ask me. So yes, I've seen myself sleeping. I've learned a lot about astral projection. I've had many experiences about it. I've seen myself come out of my body. I've seen myself while I was sleeping. I was looked in the mirror when I came out of my body and I saw a translucent version of myself. I've had quite a few things. I remember actually I was doing an experiment with one of my best friends, Phil, when astral projection was actually happened to me a bunch of times, and I was like, I was like, can you like leave like a piece of paper and a piece of word, write a word on a piece of paper and put it on your bed, table next to you, and let me know. Um, don't let me know what the word is, and I'm going to see if I can actually see what the word says. So one night, I actually was able to get out of my body, and immediately I thought go to my friend's Phil's house. So I actually just, boom, I'm like there. I'm in the room, my buddy's sleeping, and I couldn't read what the message actually said on the bed table. And this is something that I learned actually because of astral projection is that it looks like blurry. It's not like as clear as I'm looking or any of us look here. It's really hard to like focus and get really in clear in detail imagery. So I couldn't really read the message on the table, but I actually watched my friend talking in his sleep in the bed, and I sat there watching him laughing. I was laughing to myself watching him talk in sleep because I thought it was freaking funny. And so I woke up and then I messaged him the next day and I'm like, dude, like I was in your freaking room. I was trying to read the message. I couldn't read what it says. And I saw you talking in your sleep. So then all of a sudden he's like, dude, that's crazy because my brother came into my room last night and he woke me up. He says, yo, he's like, you're talking in your sleep. So that was my validation of actually like feeling like I was actually in the room with him and I left my body because I mean there's just no that was just too weird, you know? But that's just one of many outer body experiences that I've had. Something of that nature. It is scary, astral projection, because you feel like you have a really strong bond with your soul and your physical body. When you come into the physical world, that bond is so strong. So when you come out of your body, there you want to come back in your body. You feel like you don't want to leave the physical body. It's very terrifying. And also the experience when your soul comes out of your body too is really bad. I mean, it's frightening. It feels very frightening. You can't move. You go into um, ew. I just tasted like cigarettes in my mouth. Gross. I don't know what's happening right now. Anyways, I just lost my train of thought. um, but yes, it's very frightening. You go into sleep paralysis. You come out of one of your chakra points. It would be like the back of your neck, or um, and then like a buzzing will happen, and it's a very frightening feeling. I've had it many many times before. Yes, it's very connected to lucid dreaming, um, where you have control over everything. It's not just like a random dream and random things are happening. It's you have complete control. You think about going somewhere and you're having something lucid experience. You watch that you actually physically feel um, you traveling and going to places, and the experience literally feels like part of your own normal day. I remember like one of the first astral projections I had, and I was like flying over this big, huge forest, and like I was like right above the tip of the trees, and um, my feet were like hitting. the top parts of these pointy, huge, very tall, foresty like trees. And every time like I would hit one of the trees, I knew I was sleeping, and then my foot would jolt like it was hitting the top of the tree every time as I was flying over these trees. It's just weird, the things like that. It's just really bizarre, but really also very fascinating. Yes, I do believe sleep paralysis is connected to astral projection, like I was just discussing for sure. No, geez, Kristen. I know you mentioned before, but I didn't write it down. What are the posters behind you? Okay, so these are all documentaries that I was a part of. These are actually my stories, a lot of these. The Amityville one right here is having to do with my personal experiences, having to do with the Amityville case. That documentary is called Amityville: The Resurgence. Another personal, very personal, crazy case of mine called Malefice. Another documentary, and you can look it up and look for the trailer. There's also Letchworth over there, an old abandoned haunted asylum documentary. It's all about a lot of my experiences and other people that I know that I brought as a part of that documentary. And that over there, Devil Down South, um, is that is the documentary about the girl who messed with black magic and became possessed, demonically possessed while she was pregnant with her child. It was a very harrowing, crazy case. Sean, do you keep a diary of your dreams? I have written down stuff before, Brent. I haven't done in a while. But that's something that actually Lorraine Warren told me when I met her that one time. She said to keep a diary of your dreams. Because at the time when I met her, I actually had said, do you have any advice for someone who's having a spiritual awakening? Because it was happening to me. I have to say that, if you see the latest episode of me and Up Against Evil, where I went in the house in Ohio, it's like my psychic abilities have like advanced like a lot compared to what I had, in 2000, 11 or 12, 12 like 10, 11 to 2011 to 2015, that area, like it has grown, where I can actually really go into a walkthrough and really tap into like what is going on in the house. It's actually like thinking about it. Um, oh, nice sports shop. I It's really wild to think how my gift has like advanced to that level, and that's why just more of the reason I'd love to just keep going on those types of cases in people's homes, and trying to uncover what's going on in their home and figuring out how to deal with it. And that last one we did, the one I did with Mandy, it was so on point. It was crazy. And Mandy knew the spirit of this guy. And I was like, in my walkthrough, I actually am like, I just heard your name. And then later on, I found out she actually knew this man through her family. And then like got the EVP and said, I know Mandy. And finding out that this was the man that lived here, and both him and the wife had passed away, and he was bad to his wife, and all the characteristics I came up with. So it's all about that validation when you come up with stuff. Um, and then you figure out what's in the home, and all right, this is what we need to do. I didn't feel anything like truly evil in that house. It was a human spirit element, but in a lot of these cases, these spirits will actually try to portray themselves as something a lot more frightening than they actually are. And in this case, there was no inhuman situation here. There was no demonic infestation. This was a human spirit haunting going on inside this house. When did you first know you had psychic medium insights? From Betty. Within the first, well, within the first year of investigating the paranormal. Now, this is something that I thought when I started reading books about the paranormal, and I started to figure out, I'm like, wait, I'm having a spiritual awakening. I was actually terrified because I literally thought that some evil spirit thought that was making me feel like I was psychic, because I was reading books about demonology, and they were saying that demons can actually make you believe that you're psychic, and I was paranoid. That I'm like, why would I be having like this psychic thing happen to me in the middle of my life? Why is this happening now? You know, like I thought then when I was hearing about like psychic people, like they had it so pronounced in their impressionable stage of their life when they were younger, that I'm like, why would it happen like in my late 20s going into my 30s? And I'm like, it's just, I was a little worried. I was very worried. I'm like, and it was very overwhelming too, by the way, because it happened really quickly. It was just like, boom, I'm having like premonitions, full on visitations. Like it was just like a flip of the switch. I like kind of skipped a bunch of spiritual pay grades within like the first year of investigating the paranormal. It was pretty wild. Um, but yeah, within the first year, things started happening, and little tastes of it here and there, and it would start to grow. But like I was saying, like to me, it's pretty amazing. I'm just like, wow, I can walk through a house now and really pick up on like the characteristics of each room to really tap in and go in depth, not just energy wise, and how my body feel and react to it, because there's like different versions of psychics. Some people that are sensitive legitimately, that'll go in, they might just feel like, oh, I feel heavy in this room, or this and that. I feel like I have a little bit of everything going on now. It's kind of really advanced where I'm like, all right, my body will react. I'll feel the pressure. I'll feel like, you know, kind of the feeling of the spirit and what they went through, or something that led to their passing, what has to do with their health, or the tragedy, or if they're angry or evil, and then getting images. It's crazy. I trust me, I never thought that I would have this gift, that was given to me in the middle of my life. I believed in psychics. Actually, my first manager for my band, and being a singer and musician was my first passion before the paranormal. She was actually a medium, and we used to laugh when we'd go into a restaurant, and she'd be like, "There's somebody dead here, and they died." And I'm like, we'd all giggle and stuff, but it's like so funny. I look back at something like that, and here I am doing backstrokes and you know more than I could ever imagine. Um, yeah. Well, I know what you mean when you say I wouldn't be able to do what you do. I'm accustomed to a lot, man. I definitely have to carry some burdens. And with all the praying that I do for spirits, and having my hand in assisting them into the light, if they choose to go, I have had to carry some serious, heavy crosses and made some enemies in some really dark places, as some of you have actually seen on some of these streams and investigations, and the things that reference from cases and locations that I've been to, that tell me how angry they are because souls have been taken away from them, um, that felt like they were their property, whether it's straight up inhuman evil spirits, or human spirits that are just scared of judgment because they weren't good people in life, and they um, they felt like some of these souls were still their property. They want to be in control like they were just in life. And it's kind of interesting because the two cases of Up Against Evil, the one with the realtor, like there was that dynamic of the mother and the son, and then this man who was, obviously really bad and had the whip and all that stuff. And then the next one was a little bit similar, but I think that goes on a lot in some of these homes. It's just there's different souls, and there's, I don't know. It's weird. Said the name Arya, but yeah, it seems like a lot of this that reoccurring theme I've experienced in my journey to the paranormal, of like going into a place and realizing that there's some soul that's trapped, and it's crazy. It's like, these spirits know that I'm coming, and I always like hear that psychically, like they've been waiting for me, because they know that I'm coming there, not just to talk to them. I want to try to, bring them an opportunity to accept the light and go. And with my intention, my free will, the visualization, and my faith in that visualization to take place in my prayer, I think it is really something powerful. And I think that's really powerful also to show to people, and showing some evidence of that happening with all the the voices that come through and saying thank you, I'm going to heaven, and the light and heaven, all this references and stuff. It's pretty amazing. It makes me feel purposeful in what I do. It's not just about the thrills and chills and getting frightened and stuff. These are people that once lived, and of course it's exciting. This stuff is endlessly fascinating. It never gets old. I mean, you're living, I've turned my life into something where the paranormal's just around me at all times. Definitely never a dull moment, but it comes with some burdens as well too, because of dealing with these dark things and pissing them off. I've definitely made a whole a barrage of shadowy figures that are not fans of some of the light work that I've had my hands in. Hello, Ellie. But Michael, yes, a little bit, yeah, a little bit, Michael. There's still a little sporadic people coming on, and from when I did with the Twin Paranormal, and definitely was an interesting, creepy place too. And yes, and Catherine, if you see behind me, this poster is Amityville. That documentary is about my personal experiences having to do with the case, but I've never been inside. But it's about my experience having been by the house and the grave of the DeFeo family, and the whole story that happened to me and paranormal evidence to back up what happened. How do I know if I'm starting to tap into my gift? I see spirits out of the corner of my eyes. Okay, so that's a good question because I'm going to answer that. Uri. So, yeah, it's called Amityville: The Resurgence. There's a trailer on YouTube. You can check it out. My theory on why people actually see things in the corner of their eye, and most of us, a lot of us do, and then when you catch up to it, it's gone. So actually, my theory behind that is that when your soul comes into a physical body as a child at an impressionable stage, you're naturally gifted, you're fresh from the spirit world, and you have these spiritual gifts because, again, we are spiritual beings living in a human body, having a human experience. It's not the other way around. Even though a lot of these ghosts, I think they get that confused, and that's part of the reason why they get caught up consciously and energetically earthbound, because they haven't let go of the human life they once lived, but they don't realize that the human life they once lived is not who we are truly internally. The human experience is something that we're here to learn to brighten the soul that we have and learn through lessons, that whatever lessons we're meant to go through or destined to go through. When you're a child, your family, your parents try to hammer into your head that rational perspectives that spirits aren't real, your imaginary friends are not real, and you start getting caught up in the perception of how typical humans are, that spirits aren't real and things of that nature they don't really pay attention to. So I believe in that process, a lot of us lose that natural gift because of the way that we're taught growing up. And I believe that has affected mostly our frontal vision. But in the peripheral vision, I believe that those natural gifts are still there. And that's why we are still seeing, many people see things in the corner of their eyes. So that would be my perception of that. But I can give you some pointers on how to improve your clairvoyance because you're seeing things visually. So there's two things that you can actually do to improve your clairvoyance. It's all about meditation. It's all about closing off your mind and not thinking about anything. So you don't try to contaminate the environment subconsciously. So you make sure that the information is coming to you from another source and not from yourself, first person wise. So if you sit there about 15 minutes a day and you say to yourself, okay, I'm not going to think about anything, and block out your mind and just focus on seeing an apple with the back of your eyelids until you actually see the apple. That would be trying to help your visualization and your clairvoyance. And then you would sit there and try to listen. Don't think about anything. It's about training yourself and just listening. And then you could start to potentially hear words telepathically from spirits. And then you can become like an antenna. And then you're sure you want to do that. You want the blue pill, the red pill from like the Matrix. Because once you do that, I mean, it's like me, there's no turning back. Um, because yeah, I mean, once the floodgates started, like you have to deal with. I mean, you ready to hear like spirits talking all day? Because I deal with it. I hear spirits talk all day. Now, mind you, it's 99% of the time it's a thought. It's not me just speaking to you like a voice. It's a word. It's a telepathic thought. So if you sit there right now watching this video and you hear the word ghost in your mind, say the word ghost in your mind over and over again without saying it. That is literally what it's like, but that thought is not from you. It's like coming around, it's hitting you telepathically, and that thought, you'll just hear it pass by. And it's like a little echo. It's like a thought that you know is not yours. So that's really what you're training to do. So you know you're not thinking about anything, and then you start to realize, okay, that's how I can use that information. Then I can use that and try to interpret something and use that to help on whether you're investigating or if you read someone or however you want to use your gifts, and hopefully for good reasons. Yes, that's typical with crowds scaring you because you can tap into everyone's energy. When I was 11, I spoke to the spirit of a boy I didn't know till he was disappeared, never saw him again. Yeah, when you're younger too, so you're naturally see stuff more. Got you, Uki. Hello, ghost face. If I I think I recall something of that, Tracy. Yeah. No, no problem, Matt. Again, guys, if you're new into the paranormal, make sure to give me a sub or follow. I'm live every week. Glad to have you here. Um, Hello, Hillary. How we doing? Well, I was gonna do that tonight in the weird haunted room in the woods. I've been to so many places over the years. I'm, it's so funny. I was just over my neighbor's place, and he was watching one of the episodes of Up Against Evil I put up on the channel, and randomly found this old video from 2020 when I went to the house where it has to do with the movie Conjuring 3, where the boy David Glatzel was exorcised, if you know about that story, and definitely had some creepy stuff. And of course, lucky me, that evil demonic thing from that case followed me home and had to deal with it for like 2 weeks. There's so many paranormal experiences I've had over the years. Like I'd have to be reminded of some of them. I'd be like, oh my gosh, and then remember everything. It's wild. Nice. The new Conjuring trailer just came out. The Native American stuff scares you. Well, when you're talking about burial grounds and stuff like that, when you're, unrest and things of that nature can get a little, in depth there sometimes with some people in their homes. Yeah, I heard that was good, Paul. So for things that follow you home, how do you get rid of them? Well, it depends. I don't mind the spirits that follow me that need help and they want prayer. But if they're malevolent and like I see some glowing eyes in my place, it's like the holy water filled with the water guns getting shot everywhere. I'm like, out you go. Just like when that thing was knocking on my mirror on the stream I was doing the other night, I was like, that was so creepy. I'm like, that was something straight out of a horror movie. What I experienced the other night, like 5 days ago, and it's happened like 2 times. I've been like, I don't want to go in that freaking mirrors are just weird, man. But I definitely believe mirrors are doorways, and what I was experiencing, that thing definitely came from Pine Lawn. That was that goat-like creature that was from Pine Lawn when I was with Twin Paranormal, and I got the EVP there, and the EVP was like, come to the bathroom now. I'm like, oh, great. So I go in there and I felt this like seduction. This, again, have you ever seen like a vampire movie where like Dracula takes like someone over control over them and they kind of just like, it's like a euphoric feeling, like, and they just kind of roll with it. And um, I felt this. It was like almost like a euphoric feeling, like it wanted to get these words out of me. It wanted to get these words out of me to give the right words to say, you're allowed to come through this mirror. And like I knew it. And I'm just like, is that what you're trying to do? And I was recording an EVP. And then the EVP's like, you're smart. And then I'm like, that's what you want. You want me to give you permission. And then the SPI app goes and says, if I could. So then I ask if there's something truly in the mirror, bang in the mirror. And during the live stream, it freaking banged on the mirror. And then 3 direct knocks right after that. I was like, that's it. I'm like, holy water's going everywhere. I'm good for the night. It's the mirror, Hillary. I have so many weird experiences with mirrors. And it's like it's trying to take me to the mirror. And by the way, when I was in front of the mirror, it was something right out of a horror movie because it was projecting telepathically an image into my head of me ramming my head into the mirror over and over again until it was cracked and there was blood going all over the place. I mean, that is like straight up out of a horror movie. What that thing was doing, that was really twisted. I was like, yeah, no, I'm good with that. I'm good. Yeah, my old place in Connecticut was very active, very too, but here we are. Yeah, and I think when the thing knocked on the mirror, the feed went like pixelated completely right after it like hit on the mirror too. It was really weird timing. Again, guys, if you're here, if you have any questions about, the paranormal or want to share a story, ask my opinion. Did I pick up a lot of activities on the battleship? 100%. What episode are you talking about? No, that's been quiet in that department of Space Ghost for a while. Yeah, whatever question you guys want to ask. Any recommendations on an incubus attacking you when you sleep? Well, I would ask, which I know some of your situation, Ali, is like, figure out the invitation and revoke it. If there was some sort of, you know, was there some sort of magic that was done? Was there, you have to revoke its permission, how it has invitation to attack you. Obviously, I bless my place from time to time. It's not like a one and done thing. I constantly do it with all the places I go and the things that follow me home. Um, but if I was getting attacked like that and that was consistently, there's definitely a serious problem. Like you gotta, what I would be doing, when it gets really bad and something comes after me in the bed, the prayer that I say is Psalm 91. I will tell you a story now that makes me think of another story. I went to this house in Pennsylvania, and this guy had messed around with dark magic, and I think he was taking items from like dead bodies in the cemetery and dripping blood on a Bible and all this stuff. And this place was really intense. And this was like the first few years or 3, 4 years I was doing the paranormal. And I was doing a podcast, my own podcast at the time, and they invited me over to the house. And I remember going down to the basement and meeting this guy for the first time. And when he stood behind me, I swear I saw a black spherical shape. Like it looked like the size of a bowling ball. It was chilling like right here, right behind his freaking back. And I'm like, dude, like I just saw like the biggest spherical dark thing hanging right behind your back. And he said, you know what's eerie you just said that is because I met another psychic to ask them what they, picked up, and they saw the same thing behind my shoulders. And I remember sitting down at the table, and he was starting to act like a little weird, and like the energy in the room started to like change, and like I really felt like there was a battle about to begin between me and him, like the evil with him and then whoever I was. It was just like this battle was about to go on, and it felt really like a pressure on my chest, and it was just like, what is going on right now? And but then it like calmed down, this and that, and I left. And when I got home, like the next night, I was in my bedroom, and I was asleep, but then I woke up with the same feeling that I had in that basement. Um, and actually, right before I woke up, I had a dream that I was back in the basement with him. And he's like, Sean, do you think it's gone? And I'm like, I'm not sure. And this like dark thing and a flash happens in the room, comes out of the wall. And then I started to feel this feeling that I felt in my chest. And then all of a sudden I saw this like vision of this dark hooded figure over me with a knife like this. And there was blood dripping off the knife, and the blood was dripping right on top of the Bible. And I was just like, what is going on? And I just grabbed my phone and I looked up, Psalm 91. And I said the first line of the prayer. And then I saw a goat like creature at the corner of my bed. And right when I said the first line of Psalm 91, the lights and my air conditioner turned off for 3 seconds and turned back on. I had full body chills and finished the prayer. And I was able to get back to sleep, luckily, decently, after that. But just showing you, saying the first line of that prayer, and literally see, we're not just saying something that I saw psychically. We're talking like my lights turned off and the air conditioner turned off for 3 seconds, and like, because I had dozed off with the lights on, so everything shut off and then came back on after I said the full line of Psalm 91. So I'm just giving you an example, how powerful that prayer is. Now you can't, you know, you can't just throw the words out there in LE2. It's like you have to believe in those words. You can't just use those words like I got this big, thing to protect me and just go poof. You have to believe in the words. There has to be conviction behind those words. And if you notice during my investigations, there's a lot of references to my faith on these investigations that they reference. Even when I was in that room with the mirror that night, if any who was there's an EVP that clearly said Archangel Michael protects you. And then right after that, you hear this voice say Archangel Michael's a chump. So hearing something that clear also validates that, I do have protection, even though I'm using my free will and engaging spirits, and it's risky and stuff, but I do know that I am protected as well. As sometimes it gets a little tricky with some of these evil things, and sometimes you're dealing with stuff in normal life. It could become stressful, and if you're stressed in your life with what you're going through, these things will take advantage of that. They will egg you on. They'll throw gasoline on a subconscious fire that ultimately will be almost unbearable. And there's definitely been multiple attempts on me throughout the years to try and oppress me. Being sensitive to this stuff, being able to see them and hear them and feel them, I'm constantly in a cycle where it's just like, you got to be super careful, because I'm constantly engaging spirits. And, that's why it's so important, for myself and other people that get this involved in the paranormal, to really have a deeper understanding of how these things can affect you psychologically and emotionally and spiritually. That is the most delicate nature and dangerous factor of the paranormal, of how you can get into trouble. It's not something being picked up and thrown at you, or someone really levitating. It's the deep-seated stuff from your subconscious and how they can influence that, where it can really take you down. It's no walk in the park to be oppressed. I've been oppressed more than once. It's obviously knowing about it and knowing what they're doing. is having a huge advantage. But when you're going through stuff and your things are happening to you, and it's a lot harder to get your vibration higher because you're going through stressful things that are just going on in your life organically. So, and these things know that, and they'll try to take advantage of that. So, you always have to be on guard. You always got to be careful. What are your thoughts about the carriage house investigation? I thought that was a very unique place, and I was meant to go there because of what ended up happening and transpiring with that woman and that child. That was something that I will never forget. And if I ever write a third book, I think that would be one of the stories in there. I've definitely been on a bunch of other investigations. I could probably write a third book. Maybe it's something that I should work on at some point. To what man you're talking about, Ohio man, mom? When people describe things or events, I can vividly see what they're describing. Is that common? Well, it means you have clairvoyance if you're able to see that. But try picking up on it before they describe things, and then you're really tapping into your clairvoyance, not just seeing it when they're saying it to you. Is it good if people pray demons over your life? If people pray demons, what do you mean by that? Pray demons? Are you talking about like sending demons?
Living ghost.
I've never seen it say that before, ever. It literally said living ghost. SPI just said. That's a first. I don't know if I've ever seen it, heard it say ghost before. Yeah, it said living ghost. Hello, Krishna. Whew. I was in the sun today and I think it knocked me out. Yeah, it is an oxymoron. Maybe it meant live-in ghost because I probably have a handful of them chilling. I told you, it's like when I'm sleeping, I feel like when I wake up, I'm like on the set of the music video for Michael Jackson Thriller. They're all just like gathered around my bed. Hello. I remember one time, I've told this story before. I literally heard a little boy scream in my ear, Sean, time to wake up. I jumped up and um, literally 3 seconds later, my alarm clock went off to go to work, which is wild. I've had so many weird things like that happen. I've had so many things like whispering in my ear and stuff like that. So many things over the years. Nice, Krishna. Well, if you guys watch 28 Days Haunted, then you should watch the video on my YouTube. Mercy 28 Days Haunted. What really happened to me far beyond what you saw on the show. And it's my most emotional paranormal experience that I ever had. I even filmed a music video to a song I wrote about my connection to the female spirit that her spirit knew about. And I have her humming the melody of it while I was in the house filming because I had my acoustic guitar with me. It's a very unique story. Had a spirit come through with his dog the other night when I was doing a reading for his mom. I've never had this happen in 4 years. Yes, that's happened to me, Hillary. I've seen an old dog I grew up with a girlfriend of mine's father. I saw a dog with him. I've seen my old dog. My old dogs have come to me that have passed away too. So yes, I've definitely experienced that. Um, so another cool story. Speaking of dogs, I know I may have talked about this before, but whatchamacallit, my dog when it was still alive. His dog, the name was Seamus, and um, I was sleeping in bed, and my dog was sleeping next to me, and I had this. This is another astral projection story, actually. So I had this very vivid vision that I was in this big, huge open field, and I could see my dog Seamus in a huge open field running around, happy as a pig in shit. And then all of a sudden, he just stops. His tongue's hanging out the side of his mouth, and all of a sudden, he just stops. And then I see that there's this big cliff that he's looking at, and he just runs for it. And then he runs, and as soon as he gets to the cliff, when he extends his legs, he kicks me in bed, wakes me up, and then I looked at my dog next to me, and he's continuously running in his sleep. So to me, that was definitive. I was in an astral spirit world with my dog, and I saw him running. He kicked me right as he jumped off the cliff, woke me up. That was a wild experience. And my dog that wasn't even passed away, but that was really unique, cool experience. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's no surprise to me that dog backwards is God, because those animals treat us with nothing but unconditional love. No matter how they're treated, they treat us way better than we treat each other. And they're representation of how we should be treating each other. They're really truly special animals. They live up to their name, man's best friend, for sure. And they definitely live on. They are waiting for you. I will tell you that with every ounce of my being. That is true. Yeah, losing a dog is like losing a loved one. I grew up with two dogs all throughout my life. One would pass away, another would pass away, get another dog. I mean, it's rough. And, I think the only downside of having a dog is their lifespan so quick. But it allows you to have another dog in your life too, another personality, another dog, to have that love for that dog, as hard as that is. You ever watch the movie A Dog's Purpose? It's a beautiful movie. I can't stand movies where animals actually die, but in this movie, the soul of the dog lives on and reincarnates into other dogs, and then it ends up in this like special place at the end of the movie, and it definitely will tear you up, but the dog lives on, so it's not like, oh, the dog just passed away. Probably the most depressing movie ever with the dog. I would never recommend to watch. Would definitely be Marley and Me. Don't do it. Don't ever do it. If you've never seen it, don't do it. It's like the worst ever. Um, but I would definitely suggest watching A Dog's Purpose and A Dog's Journey. Yes, both of those movies. Um, I don't know. I liked it. I mean, it's emotional, but it's beautiful at the same time. And I truly believe that I believe in reincarnation. I believe that even the animals reincarnate. That's actually an experience I had that I wrote about in my first book, when I had this spirit follow me around for about 2 months. When I was just doing my first EVP, she was in my home, followed me everywhere, and I shouldn't have been doing it. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was literally doing EVPs like all day, every day. I was obsessed. And this spirit of this girl would literally tell me where I left my wallet. I found it. She'd tell me, go to sleep, you're gonna get sick. Like, I had this like
Vermont.
friendship with his spirit for like 2 months. But I'll never forget, I was listening to a recording, and the voice said, Bandit needs to go out, which I thought was really interesting, because my dog at the time was Murphy, but my old dog that had passed away was named Bandit. And I'm like, what do you mean, Bandit? And she's like, that's the soul of Bandit. So the spirit was telling me this, that the soul of my old dog was in my new dog. And there were similarities to those two dogs. They were both German Shepherds. We always had German Shepherds, some sort of like combination of German Shepherds. But I thought that was another interesting thing, like back in the day that I experienced. I'm like, wow. Okay. Again, guys, and if you don't see right here, the thing that is saying the words here is a concept that I came up with here, and that this app is called SPI, Spirit Phone Innovations. It's on iOS right now. There's no word banks. It picks up, interprets EVPs, and turns it into text, analyzing the audio, looking for dissemination of words that are outside of human speech frequencies in the SAN mode that is specifically engineered to do that. So it can say full sentences. It's wild. I leave it on the entire investigations that I do to correlate with EVPs and spirit boxes. Try it out. If you have iOS, if you're willing to do that. I'm tired. So, anyways, more questions. Do you think a spirit can visit a loved one and others' family dream of it? Can a spirit visit a loved one and another family dream of it? So you're saying being at two places at the same time? We are working on trying to get Android version out before the end of this year. Do you think spirits or demons can make you physically sick? Less. So I'm going to tell you, yes, Rogue, that is the one. So less. There's a personally. Personally, I don't like to go along those thin lines in cases where people think that everything is blaming it on the spirit. I think there's a very slippery slope. The slippery slope is blaming everything on spirits. So you don't want to blame something on spirits, not knowingly, definitively, if it was responsible by the spirit, because then you could be acknowledging it, giving it energy to do that. And you maybe giving it energy to actually do that sort of thing if it wasn't responsible in the first place. Your search history, I don't know anything about why it should be doing that. The the listen button is more of a manipulation opportunity to ask direct questions where the question goes in for an opportunity for the spirits to manipulate for an answer. The SAM mode only literally listens to the audio. So like the other question portion is kind of like a paranormal puck, but it doesn't have limitations to what it can say. But the SAM mode, it literally listens to the audio. If you compare it to EVPs and Spirit Box, you will see the correlation start to happen. I'm actually posting a video tomorrow from a clip from Up Against Evil episode that I just posted last night, or wait, 2 nights ago. And literally on video, the SPI app said Ryan, and then the Spirit Box said Ryan. The Spirit Box actually said Ryan is a needy child. And then literally the homeowner was right there on video, which I'm going to post tomorrow. And she said Ryan is the son of one of the family members who has, issues mentally. And for both these devices to say the same thing, the app first and the Spirit Box, those are the type of experiences that I'm looking for that extra step of validation and connectivity to some of the responses that come through. Even EVPs, I had the app saying in the house on the last episode, it was saying enough of this. And right before it said on the app, I have an EVP of the guy saying enough of this. So those are the things that I'm looking for to show that there's validation coming through, that multiple devices are from different methods are actually saying the same type of communication or connection to what these things are saying. And this is happening more and more as I'm doing the investigations and leaving the app on. When will I collab with Sarah? Well, I mean, they come to the US sometimes. Yes, Krishna, Sean Austin Paranormal. I'm actually live on there right now as well. SEAN Paranormal is my YouTube channel. No, Donnie, I've had this idea, this concept for how this would work for over a decade. I was just able to find a person and a team to implement and bring to life my idea with their abilities with coding and developing and engineering. And that's how we have what we have today. Nice, Frasia. Welcome. Glad to have you here. If you're just trying to tap into your gifts, Uki, it's not an issue. But if you were like engaging spirits and doing stuff in your home, I'd be worried about. But if you're just trying to meditate and tap into your gifts, I don't think that would be a problem.
Roman.
Roman. Awesome, Karen. With the SAM mode, you just got to be patient, guys. Leave it on, and and it'll say stuff. Again, it's looking for voices in the audio that are bracket of frequencies that cannot be human speech. So basically, it's just like your text to speech on your phones. But the reason why it's not saying every word that I'm saying because it realizes the frequencies of my voice or human voices in general. It's only looking for a bracket of frequencies that cannot be us and that are loud enough words to disseminate into speech. And then it's saying out loud what it believes it's saying. Because I'd done research on EVPs when I first started in the paranormal and realized that audio forensic analysis will look at a piece of audio and a voice will be on a piece of audio and say, yes, that's a human voice, but the frequency behind the voice is scientifically impossible to be a human. So I thought, what if there was a software that could actually do that for us and then just spit out the word, what it believes it's saying? And that's what the software is coded to do. Nice, Christina. Again, guys, if you're new into the paranormal, welcome. I'm live every week. Yeah, Karen, definitely. Nice, Donnie. I hear you. Nice, Prudence. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Hello, Miss Kelly. How we doing? Am I doing TV shows again? Well, there's not many TV show opportunities right now. It's because all these TV networks, they're all merging because of streaming. And there's not many opportunities in the realm of paranormal right now because all these different companies are merging into one. So that's why I started my own little series on my YouTube channel here, where you guys are over here, trying to go and be able to do that concept of helping people and doing what I do and how I do things and praying for spirits and try to help them. I used to go live on Periscope at cemeteries all the time back in like 2015 or 14. I'm trying to line up some other locations. I filmed so much on my last trip. I'm trying to push out edited episodes for you all on my channel as well, and it takes forever. It takes like 30 hours per episode to put together. Nothing on Netflix for now, Krishna, but we'll never know. What's up with the shadow people? That's the only spirits that won't talk to me ever, but they hear me. They just won't communicate with me. It's so unnerving. Well, why are you trying to talk to the shadow figures? They probably don't have nice things to say. Do you feel they all need help? If they're human spirits, some of them do want help. Some of them are afraid of judgment. So it's just dependent on the personality and what that spirit is experiencing individually. Some spirits, Hillary, just watch. You know, it's kind of like the Native American spirits. They kind of just they're very watchful spirits too. You'll hear is have spirits reference them and tell you, oh, there's one here, you know, watching. Um, Got nothing respect to those Native American spirits too, because they had such a love and passion for Earth. They were very spiritual people during that time, and I think that's why a lot of their human spirits have not crossed because they love Earth so much and they're at peace with nature. And being a spiritual person, truly, even myself, knowing when I'm around nature or the water and the ocean and stuff, I have this like oneness. I feel like, you know, there's a peaceful tranquility that comes with that and also healing. Nice, Chaser, welcome. What was the most haunted evil presence? There's two evil entities that stick out to me through my years. The serpent thing, this thing disguises itself as a woman in a dress, but it's truly this like dark hooded thing that has glowing eyes and it's like reptilian. Um, then there's another reptilian thing that is another evil creature that has to do with baby and then a um, sacrifice. A very evil demonic spirit. Thank you, Shane. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Capture. Yeah, it's emotional for me because I truly believe that's. You got to watch the video. You got to watch the full video on my YouTube. The episode leading up to that capture. I will definitely go see the new Conjuring. Love all the movies. Though it's like watching the movies, I live it in the real life. I mean, it's pretty funny. That's why I don't watch many paranormal shows anymore. I'm like, I used to be just a viewer like many of you. Um, Here I am doing backstrokes in it. So SIS 2021 says, I looked up the app in the App Store and it's categorized as entertainment. So now knowing, having my own app, the reason why it says for entertainment purposes only is because we cannot prove the paranormal. So it cannot be considered, you know, a utility because of that. So you're forced into that category. So it doesn't matter what paranormal version of an app you have, since you can't prove the paranormal, it's going to be forced into that category, unfortunately. Even though the method that it is coded to do is actually a scientific method to try and extract words from spirits in a manner that it's actually performing and attempting to. Hi, is it normal that I seen a dark figure in my room once or twice and I see no white faint dress? Well, it sounds like your place might be haunted, Laura, if you're having things like that happen. Does you live in an old home? You saw a Rim Reaper thing step through a mirror. You know, one of my visions, I saw a dark hooded thing come out of a portal, a swirling thing of energy, and then step back into it. That's creepy, Donnie.
Fade away.
Fade away. Nice, Shane. Well, just try to verse yourself and be knowledgeable. Yes, all the other paranormal apps, guys, have word banks. This has the ability to say anything. It can say some really bad stuff, so be prepared. It can say whatever it wants to say. I wanted to create something that has no limitation to what spirits can say, because when you're limited to a vocabulary list, then that means that the spirits can only say those words. That limits your research, that limits your abilities to uncover answers, and it limits, you know, all your abilities in investigation overall. It's just at this stage of the game, we should have something that the spirits can say whatever they'd like to. So that's what the interesting part of this is. So SPI, Spirit Phone Innovations, is on iOS right now. Check it out. The SAM mode is specifically engineered to do what I was just explaining to you to do. And it's using AI, text to speech, open source technology to interpret EVPs for us in the audio that cannot be human speech frequencies. That's what the SAM mode is specifically made to do. Android, we are in the works of trying to get that started as soon as possible. We already have hundreds of people in a waiting list that want to be notified about the Android version. If you want to be a part of that waiting list, what is the email? When? Maybe you can shoot that email in the chat. Oh, she has a link here in the Discord. So if you go to my YouTube channel, you can join the Discord. There's a link, there's a list of links on YouTube. I'm saying YouTube because you know why, because triggered words. You know what I'm talking about, YT. There's a list of links on there. There's a join the Discord. There'll be updates about investigations, and also you can get on a waiting list for when Android is getting closer to be coming out. There is a Discord link in there. What are my thoughts on Estes method? I don't mess with it because I'm already sensitive. It kind of reminds me of the Gansfield experiment, and it can kind of put you in a dangerous spot for let something channel through you. So I've never messed with it. I don't need to get myself in a situation to try to experience something like that. What I would actually be interested in doing is like sitting in a room and just picking up stuff and stating what I'm hearing and seeing, and then having someone else in another room and then announcing the responses and seeing if any of that connects. But if you guys see my investigations, in most cases, the things that I do come up with come through on EVP and the spirit box many, many times. Yes, I have an SB7 Pro. It's definitely my favorite spirit box. Again, guys, welcome. This has been great. Make sure to give me a sub or follow for Into the Paranormal. I'm live every week, paranormal content every week. So glad to have you all here. Oh, yeah, it's definitely calling me names on the app. Just because you hear a demon's name doesn't mean specifically a demon's definitely there. You have to remember that spirits will be very tricky and they will try to make you believe that they're scarier than you are. So there'd be other things that I would come along with the territory if I would say, okay, you have an infestation going on. There'd be a lot more manifestations going on in the home, not just a word coming through a device. Oh, wow, Hillary. Yeah, I'm going to be posting that video tomorrow where it says Ryan on both things. And there's multiple times that I've had this happen now on EVP with the app is saying, and then it says it on EVP and Spirit Box. Yes, I've been investigating the paranormal for over 15 years. That sounds pretty sketchy, Donnie. What spirit moves things and throw things? If they're throwing physical objects, then that would be considered technically, potentially, a poltergeist. Some people believe that a person, a human being, can actually create a poltergeist. Some other believe it could be an evil spirit. It could be either. I don't You know, I'm open to the possibility of being either. It's like another chat thing. Hello, David. I'm sensitive. I can hear spirits talk. I can see imagery. I can feel what the spirits are feeling. I can see things visually in the room. Also, it's all over the map, really. Because there's room for lessons even after we pass away. There's a lot of diversified ways that people pass away that lead to why there's a recipe of a ghost. And I believe that some of these souls are still learning lessons even after they've passed from their physical vessel. I think there's still learning going on for their soul. Um, Depends on how they're coping. And again, it's all representation of emotional, subconscious, and energy behind that.
Gloves.
Gloves. Thank you, Ohio Mom. Yeah, absolutely. I know. I feel exhausted. Yes, Shane. I pretty much could buy a small house with the cost of how much this software has cost. Um, it's pretty pricey, um, but worth it. Now, let me show you some other cool tools it can do as well. There's also a map on here. There is a map on here, and I want to come up with a cool thing that you can do on here. What you do is report paranormal activity, and you can add an image, describe how haunted it is, leave a message of how haunted it really is, and once you get your thing approved, you can drop a pin on the map, and someone else can find your pin, um, and then get driving directions. Like, say for instance, you saw a shadow figure at the corner of the cemetery. Someone else sees that pin. They get driving directions to the cemetery and walking directions to the pin, and they can compare your results on what else someone else has actually had in that cemetery. Which is kind of like you're combining Pokemon with paranormal activity in a way. And I'm sure that this idea will advance and innovate even further to be even cooler as we move on. Also, protection prayers that I use are in the back of the app. I can show you right here. These are prayers that I use. Right here, you can click on the prayers. You can say the prayers for protection before you investigate or afterwards, to try to prevent anything from following you home or whatever spirituality you have yourself. Again, that's SPI, Spirit Phone Innovations, and it's on iOS right now. Very cool cameras. Yeah. I want to continuously innovate it, and I have other ideas how to put into the app and with things that people have never seen before. But just got to spread the word with what we have right now and hopefully get Android out at some point this year. I have a lot of ideas that I want to do. What prayers do I use when I come in contact with nice demons? Well, what do you mean, like in the location? I mean, it just depends on the situation, really. What was transpiring? Is it just while I'm investigating, or was that a case? Like, was someone being harmed, or what are your thoughts on SLS cam? Um, well, I don't think that you can truly get the results out of an SLS cam on a phone. I have the original SLS cam that Bill Chappell made, so that would be something that I probably wouldn't do. But I do have other ideas that I want to implement into the app that I can't tell you because I don't want someone else to run away with it. But hopefully we'll get it done before someone else comes up with the idea. But I have some really cool ideas to integrate and implement into the app, into a pro version of the app, which may be like a monthly, um, you know, thing. But I'm not going to mention, you know, what I want to do with it. But again, I'm a passionate paranormal investigator. I'm passionate about the paranormal. So I love having ideas that are innovative, and I want to push the envelope in what could be done. So I'm not going to mention any of that, but I will tell you that it's never been done before. Do you believe bad spirits can come through watching videos on YouTube? No. Now, if you're sensitive and you're watching a video, you could tap into some of the activity or spirits that you're watching, but your average person, I would not expect something like that happening. Karen said on the SPF, I got an EVP that says, I don't regret naming. Does this mean it was a spirit that said that? Potentially, Karen. It's listening for words to disseminate that can't be humans speaking in the audio. So, you have to understand too, like, even if it says, I don't regret naming. So just for that, an example. So imagine it got, I don't regret correct as an EVP, but maybe naming was like a word where it maybe was guesstimating what the word is. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have to understand, it's kind of like when you're using text to speech yourself and it like guesses what you say. So, that's why some of them might be full sentences and they don't exactly are always perfect English, because it's listening for words. Nice, Yudo. Oh, wow. Well, that's pretty crazy, Karen. Sorry, whoever you lost. It can be traumatizing. Why does that always appear on Ouija boards? Well, a lot of people try to tap into that and communicate with it, and it might be an opportunity for spirits to get people's attention. You don't know if you're really dealing with that specific entity, or it could be legitimate. I don't know. But a lot of people kind of play that game because it's very infamous online, the internet, and videos. Oh, wow, Lori. Appreciate guys giving this video a thumbs up. If you haven't, thank you for tapping on the screen. And again, make sure to give me a sub or a follow if you're into the paranormal. I'm live every week. Paranormal content every week. I've never really done private readings. I've practiced read on a few friends and a couple of people's over the years. I've pretty much only been using it on investigations, but I don't know. I feel weird, like, I don't know, lining people up and charging them for something like that. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. Maybe I'll consider it one day. I don't know. Yes, I just collab with Twin Paranormal. Yes. Hello, Chrissy. Oh, nice cameras. That's intense, Lori. Nice, Hugo. Yes, it definitely does. Chrissy, thank you. Thank you, Tommy. Yeah, those guys are really nice. Ryan, Wyatt, and River. Yeah, nice guys. Hello, Amber. Welcome. Yes. What type of spirit was targeting Ryan during that investigation? It was a goatman-like creature that was invited into that place by a woman that was actually with cats, sacrificing them, offering it up as some evil thing. And I believed it was targeting, it was attracted to his aura. The LiDAR, you talking about like where it can put it in and analyze the whole room? It's a really cool technology where you can see stuff in real time digitized into on location. I don't know a lot about it, but I've heard about it. But I do believe that that thing was definitely going after Ryan for sure. And at the end of the bathroom, even in the place that we were at, when after we prayed for the spirit, we got validation of helping that female spirit. There was a voice that came through like and said something. I just knew it was that thing trying to entice him. It was definitely, I feel it. Typically, when a voice comes through the spirit box, if I hear like a child's voice, say for instance, I'll get like a feeling behind the voice, and sometimes I'll know that it's like not something good. I'll immediately get a feeling that I know it. I'm just like I know it's not something that it's portraying itself as. What's the most intense experience that I've ever had? I've had many intense experiences. Kathy, thank you for that. Most intense experience, I don't know. I've had so many. I don't know one that stands out. I mean, I try to like think of something that I've never even told anyone because I think about. I was just telling this to my neighbor. I'm just like I've had so many ghost experiences that if I was just reminded of some of them, it would all come back to me and like some really creepy stuff. I'll give you, actually, there was something that happened to me many years ago with an evil spirit. What actually was similar what happened to on the Netflix show if you watched it, and I wondered if it was the same entity. To be honest with you, so I had a vision that I walked away from my bed into the bathroom, and of course it was the mirror again. This was years ago. This was like my first year of investigating the paranormal. And when I looked up into the mirror, something took my face and threw it against the mirror like that. And I couldn't move. I went to sleep paralysis in my bed. And then I just heard this voice that sounded like animalistic and like human at the same time. And it just went, I see you. And I woke up with the chills. It was like 3 something in the morning. And then like a day or two later, I was in the shower and I had a shaving mirror in the shower, and it actually spelled I. It spelled it on the mirror, and it said I, SEE, with a big U on the bottom of the mirror. Chris, what's up, man? And that was one of the creepier things that happened over the years. And it's funny because something similar happened on the Netflix show, which became like a debacle to some degree with how much you saw rather than everything that was on that show. But that was something straight out of a movie. That creepy shit. Um, I don't know. I've had so many creepy, crazy things happen. Um, I told my Annabelle story the other night. That thing from Annabelle followed me home. The video I was just talking about from The Conjuring 3, that evil spirit followed me home from that case that possessed the boy David, followed me for like 2 weeks. Actually, that story, that video is on my YouTube channel. It's from 2020. It was creepy as hell. I was actually at a cemetery by myself at night. It was getting dark, and I felt it psychically, that goat creature, and I've encountered this goat thing like quite a few times. And literally, I was sitting in the cemetery. I'm like, I feel that thing with me. It's here with me. And it said demon, said like goat or something. And I'm like, what do you want with me? And the voice comes through the spirit box and it goes, he's ours. Something straight out of a movie. And then all of a sudden, like, I saw this like black spherical shaped thing. And it kind of like, you know, when you see like the back of the tail of a plane where you're looking up in the sky and the light, you see the light, but when it turns off, you don't see it. But by the time you see it again, it moves. That's what it was like. So it was like this dark, blackish, spherical shape that appeared in front of me in the cemetery by myself. It was like boom, and then it was gone, but then it was moved, boom, and then it was gone, and it came closer to me, and I actually stepped back and I'm like, what the f, you know? And I'm like, what in the freak, dude? Like it was intense because it was getting dark in the cemetery. I was by myself in this creepy cemetery in Connecticut where they had done satanic stuff in, and you know, and it followed me back home in bed, and you know, I had some creepy stuff happen. You can watch that video. That's on my YouTube channel too. I've had so many things happen. I'm accustomed to so much. Um, in all my years of investigating the paranormal, yes, yes, Dawn, yes. Um, I've seen objects move by themselves. I've seen doors slam and things like that, but it's rare. It's very rare. I mean, if I sat here and like saw like the iPad just lift off and just sit there, now that would be like taking shit to another level. I haven't seen some things like that, but you never know. I don't know. But since I'm sensitive and I'm able to feel, hear, and see these things, um, I have a lot more experience than your average person being involved in the paranormal because these things know that I can pick up on them and I can tap into them, and it's a whole nother ball game. Again, guys, if you're new into the paranormal for any reason, welcome. Glad to have you. Hope you will join the channel, give a sub, follow. Live every week, paranormal content every week. Yeah, Dawn. Remind me in the message. I'll send you the video. You can watch it. You can see what happened. I was in front of the house where the David Glatzel was exorcised and did spirit box session, and the references we got to the case were insane. Of course, I prayed for a spirit in front of the house where the boy was exorcised, and the goat man creature didn't like it, and then it followed us back to this other haunted house, and then crazy shit started getting in there, and all referencing the case, and then I tell the story about what happens and some other footage. It followed me for like 2 weeks. I saw it coming down the hallway in a vision. It was like a 7 foot shadow thing with hooves coming at me in the bedroom. And actually, do you know about the story, Dawn? Do you know about the well? They didn't have it in the movie. In the part of the haunting. If you see that story, there's a whole thing about a well. The boy David said the demon was coming in and out of the well, and I knew Debbie, who was the wife of Arnie, and she told me how to get to their old rental home because David said the demon, when it would disappear, would go back through the well, and there was a well in the back of the property. Now that's at the end of the episode of A Haunting, if you watch the story of the boy on A Haunting. And I just knew that I was going to see the well because the night before I had a vision that it was like tree leaves everywhere, and I was slowly walking up and I saw the well, and I looked down into the well of the darkness, and I saw these two yellow reptilian eyes looking at me, and I had the chills, and I just knew. We went and found the house, and there just happened to be a guy outside, and I'm like, screw it, man, I'm going up to him. I want to go. And I told him, like, yeah, you know, the movie's coming out. I didn't know if the well was going to be in part of the movie or whatever. But it was fascinating to actually go. It didn't matter to me, because I remember the haunting episode from back in the day. But he let us go back to the well, and that video on my YouTube, and it did spirit box session right over the well. And when I went home, one of those other nights, I think it was from the cemetery when it followed me that night. When I came home, I got video footage. The only street light on the entire street back home was the street light right in front of where I was staying, and it was flickering like crazy. And I'm just like,
Guilty.
what are the chances of that? Um, like I said, I've had a lot of experiences over the years. Yeah, yeah. Watch that video. I think I just called it The Conjuring 3 and something like that. It's on my YouTube channel. Kat, thank you. Appreciate it. I know I've had some infamous evil spirits from infamous stories kind of go after me, but then again, it's not really a shocker. Yeah, she was. Of course it is. I do not have any pets. I would love to have a dog, but since I kind of move around a lot and travel a lot, um, that would be a kind of a hindrance on that. I would love to have a pet. I love dogs. Nice, Tony. Thanks for the sub. Can a spirit box expose you the same as a Ouija? I personally do not believe that. Um, because your hands are touching an inanimate object and you're asking the spirit to move with you. And in my opinion, that's inadvertent channeling. If I'm just taking a spirit box and holding it, say, speak through this, or putting it on a table and say, speak to me, I don't think that's the same thing. All the books that I read about demonic hauntings, like 95% of them start with a Ouija board. It's not with spirit boxes. You still can get into trouble with spirit boxes, but not as much, in my opinion, as much if you play with the Ouija board. The risk is way higher, in my opinion. What is your favorite, least favorite location to investigate? My favorite location, cameras, paranormal research. I love going to new locations that I've never been to not know the spirits that I'm going to engage. What's the experience? Am I going to be able to help someone? Like that whole process when it's brand new is exciting to me, rather than saying like what are my favorite or least favorites. Because we always go back to some of the locations we've been to before, and sometimes it's different. But going to a new location, I really like that experience and process. Now, people do dowsing rods. I don't mess with it. I mean, I know people that do Ouija boards. I don't judge. I wouldn't mess with it. It's kind of like the same, walking the same line a little bit because you're holding on to something. You ask the spirit to move with it. You just got to be super careful. Um, there's a story, an old episode of a haunting. Actually, there was a boy that went with his mother, and the mother was like a police officer, I believe, in Connecticut. And I think John Zaffis, who's um, the grandson of Ed Warren was his nephew, John Zaffis, and the mother brought the boy there. He had dowsing rods. He saw a shadow figure. It followed him home from the cemetery, and then he straight up went through possession. Like he had to have an exorcism done on him. He was getting clawed all over his body. It was a really crazy episode. So you just got to be super careful, man. You know, all these things that we do in the paranormal, any sort of engaging with spirits is still a risk. It doesn't matter. It's just how much of a risk each thing is a different level. Yeah, it's a classic episode. Like I said, when you're touching an item, in my opinion, and saying "move with me," don't you think that's kind of like the spirit, channeling through you? Like "move with me." It's. I just feel like that's really the danger part. Why the planchette is so dangerous. Because there's people that mess with Ouija boards and nothing happens to them. But there's no conception of time. That This is the thing I talk about as well too, is because I did a case. I was helping a family that they didn't know what was going on in their home. They had some really dark, creepy stuff going on in their home, and um, I was doing an investigation down in the basement, and I had a vision of this woman in a white dress. She's waving her hands. She's saying they took my babies, and then I had a spirit box on, and it said Ouija. And so I went upstairs. I told them about the vision I had, and then it said Ouija, and they just turned white because they said like 20 something years ago they were like in high school, played with the Ouija board, went to like Lover's Lane Cliff to go kiss, and they saw this woman in white coming up to their car waving her hands saying they took my babies, and they realized there was a grave up there and she disappeared. So in my interpretation was like that spirit of that woman was still with them all those years later, and the Ouija board that they had played with, that invitation was opened when they moved into this home. They never messed around with anything. They didn't do anything because their 10-year-old boy, I think he was throughout 10 years old, he was experiencing a hooded shadow coming to him in bed with red glowing eyes, telling him to CUT himself. So that's why I'm saying there's no time conception. So if that invitation's open, it doesn't have to be open today, tomorrow, next month, or next year. It's going to be open on their time, not your time. And they're going to have your worst time in your life blacked out on the calendar to have the best chance to victimize you and take advantage of that invitation that you opened. So, I was coerced to play with the Ouija board, and I got oppressed by an evil spirit at the beginning of my journey. It was no walk in the park. So you got to tread really lightly and be super careful. It's not a game. It's real stakes. Do you think Bobby Mack has had anything to do with it? Or was it strictly from the user board? I think it was the combination, Dawn, because I was coerced to play with it and the Ouija board, and then I was at Bobby Mackey's. Yeah, Cameron, same to you. I'm like delirious. I'm so tired. I think I have to do this overnight, another night, because I'm going to need sleep tonight. I don't really sleep well when that thing's left on. Tony, I believe that apps can work. Spirits can manipulate anything that's electrical, but that's why I came up with an idea to do SPI app. It's on iOS. It has no limitations. All of those different apps have vocabulary lists. The spirits cannot say anything outside of the vocabulary list. What this is actually doing is not a random word list that the spirit can manipulate if it works. When it does, it's listening to EVPs in the audio and trying to do a text to speech type of thing using AI, open source technology. Has the ability to say any word that it believes it hears. Sentences in the SAM mode, man, bleh, I can't even speak. I'm so tired. The SAM mode is specifically designed and engineered to do that. That is the concept that I have had for many years, and that's what to me is exciting. I leave it on in my entire investigations and compare it with my EVPs and Spirit Box sessions. It's on iOS right now, and yeah, I definitely give it a try. I think you can get results from all those different apps, but this is something that's gonna, really spread the ability to what the spirits can say to you, and not just the list of words that those other apps typically have. The link's in the chat right there. Yes, correct. SPI, Almas, Spirit Phone Innovations.
Idiot.
Dude, do you see what it just called me? It just said, "You effing idiot." Nice. It said effing idiot. It literally can say anything. Anything. Literally can say anything it believes it says. I didn't want any limitations. I know. Yeah. So yeah, check it out, guys. That's how I use it right now. Is I use the SAM. You have to be patient because it's listening for words only in a bracket of frequencies that can't be human speech. So it's not just waiting for manipulation, it's listening to the audio. Kate, thanks for the follow. Whew. Y'all have any other questions you want to ask me? No problem. I will try to do these Q&As at least once a week when I have time. I know it's helpful and I would love to provide some more knowledge for you guys, not just investigating, to give a little bit more in depth of my experiences or give you kind of an idea of what's going on, my opinion of how everything goes or something experience that you guys have. Yes, the protection prayers I use are in the back of the app as well. I don't know, Dawn. I'm sure if I started turning things on tonight and doing that, it would probably try to draw me to the bathroom. Nice. Again, guys, thank you so much for giving a sub or a follow if you're new. I am zonked tonight, so I'm probably gonna do the overnight another night because beyond tired. I think you have to believe in the words, Tony, in order for them to work. Yeah, Christina, definitely. Oh gosh, Donnie. Have you ever heard from any of your family members or loved ones that have passed? Yes, Dracos. My father's passed away 3 years ago, that passed October, and I've had many experiences with him. At least like 10 to 20. No problem, Ghostface. I appreciate all of you guys. I appreciate the support. Thank you guys. And has everybody checked out the last 2 episodes of Up Against Evil on my YouTube channel? Please go watch it. You know, there's 4 episodes now. I start a series on the channel. I'm getting better at filming, and some really cool cases, really amazing evidence. Please go watch the last couple episodes or any of them. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Some really amazing, profound spiritual experiences, creepy stuff, beautiful emotional stuff. So I hope you guys will go watch some of the episodes. Just curious, growing up or as a younger adult, did you ever listen to Art Bell? Yeah, I knew about Art Bell. And my mentor in demonology is Ralph Sarchi, who was an NYPD sergeant with the inspiration of the movie Delivers from Evil. Eric Bana was a cop. He worked with Edna Ray Warren in the beginning, and then his mentor was Bishop McKenna and Malachi Martin, who were probably the most respected exorcists of our time. And Malachi Martin was on Art Bell a lot, and he was a very, very fascinating, interesting man. I wish I could have met him too, kind of like Ed Warren. But yeah, I know all about Art Bell and some of his interesting guests. No, thank you. You too, Heather. Yeah, no problem, Darkos. If you guys want to get on the Android waiting list, the Discord link is in the chat right now. Or if you're on Tickety Talk, the links to all my stuff, including Discord, are on my YouTube channel. All the links that you can get to me. If you want to send me a message or ask me a question, Insta is a good place to do that. My Insta is Sean D. Austin, SEAN, D as in David, AUSTIN. No problem, Matt. Thank you. Same to you. Hello, LK. Who, Bubbly? Yeah, well, trying to get on here more. I was using another account over here on Tickety Talk because it's all screwed up. Never got better. I'm wondering if I should even, maybe I should try Twitch. Oh, I missed the Periscope days. Yeah, I've had a link tree before. I think there's one on my YouTube channel. Two River? I'm not sure. Absolutely, Paul. Sorry, I'm a little. I realized how tired I am. I was in the sun today and kind of knocked me out, and I'm just drained from a lot of stuff going on lately. Well, all right, guys. I am tapped out. I will definitely be live this weekend. I will definitely let you know what's going on. I appreciate all of you as always. It was nice chatting with you. Make sure to go check out Up Against Evil, the episodes on my YouTube channel. There's 4 episodes, and please go check out SPI, Spirit Phone Innovations on iOS, and try the app. Let me know what you think. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dawn, Christy, Ghostface, thank you. Leanne, thank you. Thank you, AKA. Yeah, no problem, David. Thank you. Thank you, Wend. All right, guys. I will see you later. I will see you guys this weekend. Maybe tomorrow. All right, cool. No problem, Wendy. Thank you. All right, guys. Later.